Welcome to our Star Wars and The Last Jedi special. This is a four-part series, and this is part four. We have finally made it to part four. If you guys haven't seen or listened to the first three parts, we are going to leave links in the description below to those, and we recommend that you go and listen to those first, and then come back and listen to part four.
Another bummer about these, especially Last Jedi, is that it's the um this is the worst these are the worst Star Wars soundtracks I've ever heard. Nothing really memorable. And this is by John Williams. It's like John Williams isn't really trying anymore.
He's not really in his prime either. He's done a lot in his day.
So it's like his tank is empty when it comes to Star Wars music. So, and he doesn't even, he's like, I think he's like semi-retired because he doesn't compose music for for Steven Spielberg anymore. His most current stuff is Star Wars stuff. I think his best work was the prequel Star Wars trilogy. I love that music. That's the best Star Wars music.
It's memorable too, because like when you hear it, you know exactly what it's from. It doesn't matter what song or what piece it is, you know what it's from, which is even something that probably couldn't quite be said for Star Wars, the original trilogy, because even though there's a lot in there that is very recognizable, there's some things that you could hear and maybe not know it's from Star Wars.
Well, so with the 4, 5, and 6 is that it's, of course, the foundation of it all, right?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you forget it's like the Superman of Star Wars music. It's the 4, 5, and 6 because it was the very first of its kind. So you got Imperial March, you got the Leia's love theme, you got the credits, So that is without a doubt the best pieces of music ever. Like, so iconic, you can hear it.
Oh yeah.
And then to me though, the prequels, he took it a step further.
We're getting a warning.
Flood warning.
We got a flash flood warning.
We got a flash flood warning.
In this area until 9:45. It's 6:52 right now.
That's crazy.
Avoid flooded areas. Is my driveway flooded? Hope not. Well, and I'm not saying that that the original trilogy is garbage compared to the prequel trilogy in the scores. I'm just saying that with you saying how you said they took it a step further. I agree with that. And every single piece, I think, I don't know about the average person, but if you're even a casual Star Wars fan, if you hear a piece of music from the prequel trilogy, you almost immediately know that it is Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that can quite be said for every piece in the original trilogy. For most pieces, yes, for sure.
I see what you're saying,
but maybe not every piece. Or with almost, I would wager that almost every single piece in the prequel trilogy would be recognized like almost instantly as Star Wars.
Look at the Trinity. So think about Star Wars. I'm thinking about the prequels. You look at it, like each trilogy has its Trinity, where you're like 4, 5, and 6, Luke, Han, and Leia. Prequels, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Padme. And then with these ones, Finn, Poe, and Rey. Those are the weakest characters. The sequel trilogy's Trinity is the weakest Trinity out of all of them.
They also don't really have much of a bond.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of weird because, so the prequels got a lot right. There's a lot that was just kind of weird, and I can understand why some people didn't like it. But they got a lot right. And like from the get-go, you feel a bond between Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's a bond there. And then even in the second one, in episode 2, there is a bond between Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's just all these bonds. These characters feel real. They feel actual. Like they feel like they're actually making a connection to other people in their own universe. The universe is tangible. It's real.
So many cool characters.
It has substance. Seriously, yeah. And this one, it really kind of feels like let's just show up in the moment type of a thing. And I don't know, maybe I'm out of the loop, and maybe in most of the world, this is how most relationships or friendships are. Like you just meet, oh hey, what's up, blah 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 blah, and then whatever. But like it just does not feel real. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel like there's any substance there. Like I don't really feel like Poe cares all that much about Ray. And also, have they ever even had like that much of a conversation?
No.
Have they had a
No, the only
conversation?
time they meet
They meet
is
at
the
the end of
very
this
end of
one.
Last Jedi.
And
He's like, "Hey, I've heard a lot about you."
it's like,
They
have
don't
you
even.
though? When did you hear this?
Yeah,
I don't remember you hearing this.
this is the end, the very end of the second movie in the sequel trilogy, and he's just meeting Rey. Weird.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Finn has some okay, from like a trauma point of view, and probably like an actual therapist could probably like actually tell you why Finn has such a connection to Ray because of him leaving
I think
what he
it's
knew
just
and
because
all this
Rey's
stuff.
hot.
But at the same time, yeah, it's just
He
like
thinks she's hot, and that's why. That's the only
he
connection.
just feels such a. It's just so weird. I don't know. Their relationship is just so awkward to me for some reason.
I mean,
He just
99% of our motives is in life is women, so
that's
that's
true.
why Finn is. I would have done the same thing. Just follow her everywhere.
He's just I don't know. I don't really get. I don't buy their friendship. And I don't.
It's a very millennial friendship.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I just don't buy it. It's funny because I wonder if it's more Gen X or whatever it is like the next one because we're millennials technically, and then the one after us is like Gen X.
So it's more of a Gen X. It's
Maybe
a very
it's the Gen X thing because I don't think it's millennials. I feel like we actually tend to make connections.
yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't have substance. There's like no substance. The world, the universe that they're in, just doesn't actually feel there. At least in the Last Jedi. I think in the Force Awakens they actually get that a little bit better towards the beginning. Towards the end, it kind of loses. I feel like we should apologize for the weather. Can you guys hear all of this
No,
thunder?
the lightning and the wind and the rain.
Yeah, this is terrible. I hope it's not being picked up by the microphones too bad. But it sort of works in the Force Awakens, but in the Last Jedi, like I don't buy any of the settings. Like I just don't. It doesn't feel like it's in the same universe. It feels like in a totally different universe than all the other Star Wars movies. I just don't buy it being there. It just doesn't feel right. It feels wrong.
They've I call Last Jedi upsets the established order. It's so chaotic. It makes its own rules. It doesn't listen to any rules. Like it's just and the forced humor. They're trying to have like Marvel humor in Star Wars. Like
Oh, forced humor is really bad right now.
it's just the Yo Mama jokes. I mean,
That was bad.
yeah, I could tell. I had a bad feeling about the movie right at the beginning.
Wait a second. You said you had a bad feeling
I had
about
a
this.
bad feeling about this. That's what went through my head when I heard the Yo Mama jokes. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I just
Downhill from there.
I know. And that was at the beginning too. Like the beginning of a movie is supposed to prepare you for the rest of the movie. And this one kind of did. In other words, the whole movie is a big joke.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to subvert your expectations and not actually be a good story.
I mean, what are the odds that Rose and Finn get imprisoned in the cell where there's actually a code breaker guy in it? And then also, why did they put their complete trust in a guy that was locked up? Like, of course that guy was gonna, betray them later. It's just like,
They're way too easily trusting.
yeah,
But it's totally out of character as well.
and they get thrown in prison because of a parking violation.
Oh my goodness, that's just
Like,
ridiculous.
Like, why?
I mean,
like,
honestly, I
be
think
smarter, be more, park it in the trees.
I mean, I don't doubt that there probably are such things as parking violations for your spaceships in Star Wars. I don't doubt that 1 second. But that timing,
But why did they
why
make
did
that?
they do it? Why
Yeah,
was it
why
then?
did they do it? Yeah.
Why was it now?
Yeah.
It actually felt like something that probably should have been in the Han Solo movie, not this one, not the Last Jedi. Maybe the Han Solo movie.
They
That would
should have
have
been more tactful.
a bit better.
Like,
But the humor right now is really bad in movies because I started watching. I haven't finished it yet. I'm about maybe 20 minutes into it, or maybe 30. No, probably like 20. It's a Netflix original movie, at least here in the States it is. And it's called Edge of the World. It's about 4, like 11 or 12-year-old kids who go to a camp and then aliens
okay,
invade.
I saw a trailer.
I haven't finished watching it, but they take this like the dumbest moments to stop and say something and like make a joke, and it's ridiculous. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like at one moment they're being chased by some sort of, this is towards the beginning. They're being chased by some sort of not zombie, alien dog. Okay? And they're in, I guess, the cafeteria area of the camp building. it was kind of hard to tell. And I also just wasn't looking that well, honestly, at their surroundings. But the one kid like stops and says, "Wait a second, like how big was it? Maybe it just wanted to cuddle." And then it comes like bashing through the door. So the director or the writers, or all of them, doesn't matter, decided to have those kids or that kid stop right there so that you could then see the dog bash through the door because they thought it would probably look cool. I'm assuming they thought it would probably look cool because I guess it was kind of cool, but it wasn't that cool. Like it was just like, I don't know, it was just so weird. Like that's just not a good time for a joke. And that's one of the things that I think some of the Marvel movies do really well is they know when to joke, when not to joke. Imagine having had some sort of stupid joke at the very end of Endgame after Iron Man died. Like during that moment with Pepper and Spider-Man and Rhodey, having them there and Iron Man just sitting there dying. And then Ant-Man comes in and like cracks some joke. That's a bad time for a joke. You need to know when to put a joke in and when not to. Because there is a time not to. Even with today's movies, even with Gen X or millennials, like there are times to not joke. We can't just always be joking. That's not a good story. It's not entertaining. It's not relatable.
I think it's partly due to the backlash of Last Jedi, but Disneyland has come out with the Galaxy's Edge theme park, part of the largest Disneyland expansion ever, and apparently it's not doing very well. And I think there's a lot of reasons why. I think part of it is that it's all sequel trilogy stuff. Like I wish there was a kind of a nice mix of all of the Star Wars movies. I think that would have been better, so there was something for everyone to enjoy. At least even something from 4, 5, and 6. I know we got Millennium Falcon there, but it just feels like you can tell that the whole vibe is just the sequel trilogy, which a lot of Star Wars fans aren't too fond of right now. And also, I think it's due to the fact that the tickets are even more money now. I mean, and everything's so expensive.
Did you see the video that Star Wars Theory put out about? They posted it was I think it was a concept theme park map.
Oh yeah, I did see
for
that.
Lucas World. Mm-hmm. And we'll leave a link to that video below in the description as well. But that was so much more epic of a theme park. And obviously, even if Disney decided to go that route, they wouldn't be able to do all of that at one time because no, that was as much stuff as Disneyland has right now.
Yeah.
Actually, it might have more variety than Disneyland has right now. And Disneyland's been around for a long time, but they could have started with something like that. Mm-hmm. They could have started with, it doesn't even matter which part of that, but it had a perfect blend of prequel and original trilogy. It didn't have any of the sequel stuff because this concept came out before Disney released any of their movies. And so it had a perfect blend of the prequels and the originals. Movies. And it was really, really awesome. Like I
instead of Splash Mountain, you can have like a Mustafar volcano mountain.
had that actually became a thing, I would have totally paid like $300 a ticket to get into that place. Yeah, like that's more than Disneyland costs right now by a landslide, and I would have totally paid it to get in there for one ticket because that's how awesome it was, and that's how much of a Star Wars fan I am. It was such a cool concept, and I really wish it could have came to be. But instead, we got, like you said, this Galaxy's Edge with a planet that we've never seen before. Like, we don't know this planet, and somehow, not only do we not know this planet, but and I get why they did this, but you can also construct a lightsaber there. And like, I get why they did that because lightsabers are a huge thing in Star Wars, and it's all marketing. But that's what it is. It's all marketing. The whole place, the whole thing is all marketing. And
there's also not much to do there, too. There's just one functioning ride now.
Oh, serious? That's it?
Yeah. There's going to be another one, I think called Rise of the Resistance again or something. But again, it's a sequel-based ride. And so you're just like...
I don't know about you, and I don't know about you guys, but I have no desire to go there.
Well, it's a thing. It's sad for me because it's like my least favorite Star Wars era has its own theme park, not my favorite eras of Star Wars.
Well, not only
Like,
that, but it also shows you how far Disney has fallen. Disney as a company has been amazing at one thing throughout the history of time, and that's entertaining people of all ages, really. And were really good at that with their cartoons. They were really good at that with their animated stuff. They were really good at that with their theme park. They had a lot of entertaining things to do. Nowadays, they're not that great at it. In fact, they're just remaking all this old stuff that they used to that they made before, and they're like they just there's nothing there's nothing that they've done recently that is actually super entertaining. That's amounted to a great deal. There's been movies like Frozen that had an impact for a while, but where's Frozen now? Honestly, I think a lot of people, except for like really young people, have mostly moved on from Frozen. Now there's gonna be Frozen 2.
it's
Like
gonna be called Thawed.
it's just
Thawing.
um and then after that, deep fried.
Yeah.
Goes like the life of frozen chicken. Anyways, and so I've just been so unimpressed with everything that Disney's been doing, and they can't even sustain a part of their theme park. They just can't. They can't even create something that has substance, and that's so sad because Disney had such a good foundation of what they were founded on, what Walt Disney founded them on, and now it's just been destroyed because all they want is money, and they just do anything to try and bring in money. And Disney is not perfect. They've never been perfect though. There's actually quite a few Disney flops,
Well,
but you just don't hear
since the
about them.
beginning, Disney has remade things and made it their own.
But making it
But
their own is one thing.
yeah,
But
making
then
it their
doing
own.
it again,
Yeah, live action. Yeah,
most of these remakes are really just money grabs, just cash grabs. At least in my
I
opinion.
feel like all the live action, like the ones they should do, they're not doing. Like Atlantis, Treasure Planet. I think those would be way cooler live action.
You know why though, right?
Because they weren't as big.
Because they weren't as big.
Yeah, they didn't make as much money.
That's how you know it's a cash grab. All this
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, because I think the technology behind The Lion King that they just came out with is absolutely amazing. The fact that they were able to create that world in VR and be completely CGI, it looked really, really good. But it was not The Lion King. It was not The Lion King as we know it. It was a desaturated and it had the fun sucked out of it.
Oh, this is. Oh, just something funny happened. I'm buying something on Facebook yard sale, and the person, I was like the first one to buy this item, and I messaged back because I hadn't heard from her. I'm like, and she's like, oh, there's someone. We're holding it for someone already. But she didn't realize the person she was holding it for was me, so she thought it was like I was two different people. She's like, "Oh, I didn't
That's
realize
funny.
that was you. Sorry. Are you still interested?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Yes, I am. That's pretty funny.
yes, I am."
So I'm not really impressed with Disney stuff right now. And when Star Wars started going downhill, I was actually mostly just blaming Kathleen Kennedy. But I really don't think that it's all her fault now. I really do think that there's a lot of the blame should go on to Disney and the CEOs and the CEO, sorry, of Disney, as well as the board of Disney. And it's really sad to see such a company that was founded on such good die because of, I guess it's not dying yet, but maybe it will. And it's definitely not as good as it used to be because of greed and because of money. It's just gross.
I man, yeah, it's. I know there's plenty that's been said of why Last Jedi's been wrong. So hopefully we've come up with new reasons and explanations of why Last Jedi just doesn't work. It's depressing. My tipping point for doing this podcast or was because I read an article about um, kids. They did research, and kids are not that interested in Star Wars anymore. Also, everywhere I look, Star Wars, everything's on clearance with Star Wars toys and merchandise. This should not this should not be the case. Star Wars was gold, and now it's dwindled in value as a whole. And a big person to blame is Catherine Kennedy. So it yeah, no, and then also Ruin Johnson. Well, with Last Jedi, like, guys, stop trying to shove your political agendas down our throats. And Star Wars was never about that. Star Wars was about just the swashbuckling adventure. It was about escapism. We're supposed to escape these characters. We're supposed to we're supposed to escape from our crummy reality that we live in now, and go escape with Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Leia, and we just go hang out with them for a little bit and get away from our lives and escape. And now it's starting to turn more into what our lives are, and that's depressing. Like, we don't want to see Luke Skywalker sad, Yes, it makes him more human, but Luke was always he was the most optimistic person in the universe, and now they made him the most negative. Like, it's like making Superman negative, and it just doesn't make any sense. Like,
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that. Um, Star Wars has never been about political agendas, and that's true. Even though the prequels were very political themselves, it was politics within the universe itself,
yep,
and
exactly. That's exactly what
it was not our universe affecting their universe.
Yeah,
And that's something I feel like people have a hard time with. Is I don't know if it's just because they don't have maybe a great imagination, or they just can't fathom the idea of something in a fictional universe being separate from the universe in which that universe was created. So George, which is in reality, created a universe called Star Wars. And that universe is separate from our universe. And so a lot of the things that seem to be happening in the new ones, especially with like political agendas, is stuff from our universe leaking into that universe, and that just should not happen.
it's poisoning it.
Now, I think when it comes to some other type of a fandom or universe, for instance, Marvel, that universe takes a lot of inspiration from our universe because it's founded in our universe, although it is different. But with Star Wars, it is a completely different universe, and so you just shouldn't have political agendas there. You just shouldn't push it. It's just not right. It's not right to the fans. It's not right to the story, and that's one of the big things. Is it's not only disrespectful to the fans what's happening with Star Wars, but to the story and even to the original like prequel, like the original trilogy. Like, if it's tainting that story, then that's bad. That's really bad, and it's doing that because it's breaking the rules that other George Lucas Star Wars movies have set for this universe, for the Star Wars universe.
It's like they're changing the game of like how the Force works, how the ships work, how hyperspace works. It just it's
sad.
it's sad. Yeah, it's sad to see this universe that I love literally crumble. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I have, as these movies come out, I have less complaints about the prequels and just cherish them even more. I like how they're original and they bring something new to the table, and that's what these lack, is the imagination. They lack innovation
And passion.
pioneering.
They just seem to lack passion overall, and I hate to say that because, like I said before, I really feel like there's a lot of people that worked on this movie and have worked on the the Disney era of Star Wars movies that are actually fans of Star Wars, that do care about the movies and about the universe and about the fandom, but they're not the ones in charge. And it's just so sad to see such, I hate to say this, but
Talent
lazy,
wasted.
it's the talent wasted, but
Yeah.
also like lazy and crappy writing. There's a lot of crappy writing right now, and there's a lot of good writing. And it's just so sad to see crappy writing and crappy storytelling in a fandom that has been cherished for generations and generations and generations. And now, because of this new era, there's a huge chance that future generations will not care. I hope that they always care about the originals, at least the originals. I also hope they care about the prequels as well, but at least the originals, because they're what started it all. And the original Star Wars movies have inspired so many other movies and creators and directors and actors to create stuff. And I don't want that to go to waste. I don't want all the hard work that went into that and all of the, I don't know if I want to say reputation, but all of the love that was built up for the original Star Wars movies
pretty much
over
reputation.
the years. I guess it is reputation. I just don't want that all go to waste, and it just seems like it's being wasted now.
Yeah, I definitely know Carrie Fisher's character has been wasted, and the sad thing is we can't even reboot.
Nope.
This thing, she's already gone, and so it's just like,
it's really sad.
I wish that she had a lot bigger role than she did in Force Awakens, and I would have put her in the forefront, but I think it's because part of it was vain Hollywood. We want an old lady hanging around and stuff. It's just like, this is Princess Leia. Just let her do something cool, you know?
It's not an old lady. This is Princess Leia.
Yeah, this is Princess Leia.
I just watched the A New Hope.
To you, she's a Jedi.
And it was amazing watching that again, watching Leia specifically. And she's just such a wonderful character. She's so interesting. She really is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she stands in the face of evil with her feet firmly on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't quiver.
Yeah.
The only time when she shows, if you will, a weakness is when she is sad because of all of the people who got blown up from the Death Star in front of her face. Well, not in her face, but right in front of her eyes. That's when she shows a, air quotes, weakness, if you will, because she loves something, which isn't a weakness. That's a strength. But before that, she is like solid in front of the face of evil and in front of Darth Vader. And then even after that, she does not put up with any of the crap from Han Solo.
Mm-hmm.
She is so awesome, and I love those two. They're so amazing. I'm so glad that they became a couple in the next one, and it's just it's so good. And like, so she's just a wonderful character and just amazing. And she could have added so much to. This is gonna sound funny, but she could have been the non-Force using Obi-Wan Kenobi of this new sequel trilogy. I know it sounds a little weird because Obi-Wan is a Jedi, but what he did is he basically helped push Luke to the next level where he needed to get. He helped push the story along. Leia could have done that for Rey. Han could have done that for Rey. I guess Han kind of sort of did, but only sort of. They just didn't use these characters that were just such amazing characters. Even Luke, who starts out as like some whiny kid, and then becomes like a great Jedi by the end of the original trilogy. Like, he's such an interesting character, and their story is just amazing, and it's not overcomplicated either. It's like, it's just right. It's what it needs to be.
I think they suffer from like too many characters. They're trying to just have too many characters and added characters and to the point where the existing characters don't get developed and boy.
Well, I think part of the reason is like, if you, I don't know if you noticed this, and by you I mean the audience here. Chan, I think I've talked to Chan about this before, and I think Chan was actually the first one to mention this to me. Maybe might be wrong in that, I don't know. But every character that they've added, and there's nothing wrong with this. I want to tell you that right now. There's nothing wrong with this. But the reason, I don't know if I want to say the reason why, but the reasoning around it is maybe what's wrong. But every character they add is of a different ethnicity or a different gender or whatever, because they're trying to get more diverse.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. You can have more diversity.
No, some of the best Star Wars characters was Lando and Mace Windu.
I love
so
Mace
cool.
Windu. Dude, that purple lightsaber.
Yeah.
I still want a purple lightsaber. Like,
Yeah.
I think blue's probably my favorite just because I like the color blue, but purple is like so legit.
Mm-hmm.
And the story behind how he got that was so cool too.
Yeah.
But and there's nothing wrong with diversity, but don't force diversity.
Mm-hmm.
if the story calls for diversity, that's all awesome and cool. If you want to have more diverse cast, that's fine. But it feels so weird to have it forced into the story. It's just really weird. Actually, I do think Rogue One did it good though. That's one thing that I think Rogue One did really good because they have a very diverse cast, a lot of ethnicities there, and I think they actually did it really well, better than The Force Awakens and better than The Last Jedi, with the addition of Rose, which is probably the addition in the, if you will, of the main characters of The Last Jedi. And so I just, it feels so weird and almost wrong actually in The Last Jedi, but yet it worked in Rogue One. See, that's another good thing about Rogue One.
General Holdo being oh, she's got purple hair. That's exotic enough. She's a woman. And
I guess that's diversity.
Yeah, it's like we need more. These people are in the way of like the aliens. You know, like
I'd love more aliens.
We need more.
We got Maz for a little bit,
mm-hmm.
but she was barely even in The Last Jedi, and I wanted her to be more.
Projection.
Yeah, just hologram.
Hologram, yeah, that's the word.
Yeah, it was kind of lame. I liked her in The Force Awakens. I wish she was in The Force Awakens a little bit more, but I understand why she wasn't as a character. But I definitely wish that she would have played a bigger part in The Last Jedi than she did. Because she's like, hey, go find this dude. And then they didn't even find that dude. They found some other guy to help with the coding problem that they had or something like that. I can't remember what it was. Well, I think we're going to wrap up this video, guys. Chan, do you have anything else to say?
I don't know. I think a lot's already been said if we haven't covered. I'm sure there's plenty of other stuff, but there's so many other videos out there that cover
I know, there's
all this.
There's so many good videos out there, too.
It's sad that it seems like the Star Wars stock is going down overall.
Yeah.
It's just no one. I still care. I'm still deep in there, but I think I always will. But
well, the funny thing is, I think there actually is still a love for Star Wars, but Star Wars, Lucasfilm Star Wars, nobody really cares all that much about.
Like I'm excited for the rebirth of Clone Wars. Oh yeah,
that should be interesting. I hope it's good.
I think it's sad that Star Wars animation is better than the sequel trilogy, better than what we've gotten so far.
Oh, you mean like the Clone Wars and
yeah.
the Rebels
Clone
TV
Wars
series?
and Rebels TV show.
The animated ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were really good. They were really amazing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think what needs to happen is Dave Filoni needs to be the new president, and I think Dave Filoni should have did episode 9. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But maybe he didn't want to bow down completely to Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah. Have him do something live action.
Yeah.
And excited for the Mandalore though.
Oh yeah, I am too actually, because you got him, and then you got oh man, his name just left my mind. He plays Happy in Iron Man.
Oh, Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau, thank you. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Yeah, I'm excited to have him.
That should be
He
interesting.
wrote the whole season.
Serious?
So he as a fan, he wrote the first 4 episodes, and then finished the rest. So
wow.
he already wrote. It's
That's
funny because
awesome.
it reminds me of myself, because I've written a lot of Star Wars fan fiction, and excited to get that out there.
That's pretty cool. Well, I think we're gonna end it there. Thank you for listening. If you're still listening, that is. This is like we've been recording for 2 hours. We're gonna turn this into 2 sessions, 2 videos. But let us know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.